in the trip where there's no reception and there's also no radio show I want to listen to, I can't quite listen to. So here I am making another video, trying to make it big on the YouTube circuit. I was talking to somebody yesterday. It's like, it's like playing lotto. And it's cheaper than playing lotto because it doesn't cost anything to upload a YouTube video. And who knows, you could become a YouTube superstar. I don't need to be a superstar, but if I could pay my rent on YouTube, that would be pretty good. So far, I basically make, I don't know, a couple of dollars a year. I don't know. But, you keep trying. So anyway, and I see some of these videos on YouTube, not much better than mine. Some of them are worse, and they get thousands of views, tens of thousands of views. I don't know what it is, I mean, if I had more time, I could do these more professional videos and stuff, but just doing what I'm doing. Now, I had a question that was posed on one of my videos yesterday from Khalifa Clothing, and thank you for commenting. I always like to be in touch with my viewers, and I appreciate you watching. And so, I mean, again, this is going to be probably even more controversial, but I have what to fall back on as far as what I'm talking about here. And I'll just be frank about it. I'm not going to be confident. How do you say? I'm not going to, what do you say, Khalifa in English? I don't remember. It's like, I don't speak a language so good. Anyway, flattering. I'm not going to be flattering in this video. I'm going to just say it how it is. In fact, it's quite unflattering to blow your nose in the middle of a video. But I keep hold back, The other day, I was an extra in a movie. I had to hold in a sneeze, and I did it for the whole take because I knew they'd have to do another take. Maybe not. Maybe they'd put the sneeze in the movie. I don't know. But I held in the sneeze. It was the fourth take, and that was the last take they did. 4 takes, and I don't know. They gave me like $160 just to sit there for a couple minutes. Pretty good. Imagine travel, I don't know, about an hour and 20 minutes out of my way, but it's less than I would ask for a wedding. Probably in that area, I would do a wedding for about that price. It's not that far. So anyway, I want to thank Khalifa Clothing for posing this question. I mean, I want to forgive my this writer is of the Islamic faith, because of course Muslims don't pray not to Jesus, not to Muhammad, not to any of the prophets. But Muslims do believe Jesus to be human, and as I understand, some Muslims believe he was dead. But of course that means something else to Muslims than it means to Christians, and most likely something different than it means to Jews, because they do, particularly the Shiite Muslims, but maybe all Muslims are looking forward to Mahdi, which is much more of a messianic type of figure. Now, there's two things. One, I mean, when you're talking in a public forum like this, Rabbi Ruvain, it's very disrespectful. We are in Gullus, we are in exile. We have to be humble people. That's one of the problems that Zionism has created, is that Jews have lost their humility. And it's really dangerous. I mean, stuff like that, it's like, I know I'm exaggerating, but like trying to start a pogrom, anti-Semitism is by and large gone. And really the main problem that Judaism and Jews have is from these secular Jews who probably, like someone on Twitter has been saying, they come from the Frankists and the Sabbateans. And there's just more and more evidence coming out of that every day. And it's quite likely, points out, Rabbi Yaakov Emden sought to build bridges with the Christian community against the Frankists and the Sabbateans. So we by and large overcome anti-Semitism, but because of Zionism, there's this chutzpah that's come out that's like saying, that it's like so cavalier, and it's really putting us in danger. I mean, it was a story of a Lubavitcher Ingerman in England who's, I don't know if he's a politician or he's running for a political post or something, and he did something. I'm not going to repeat what he did, because I don't want to be mefarsim what he did, because I don't want to publicize it, because I believe that maybe in England where they're not as religious as they are, I don't know, but like it's highly offensive, and how he posted on Twitter something that he did, whether he's right or wrong and Jewish was a different story, but you don't put something like that up on Twitter. But since the question was asked, why is like Rabbi Yaron Ruvain, he is so disrespectful, and part of it is a lot of Jews are just, especially Orthodox Jews, even if they didn't grow up Orthodox. I don't think Rabbi Ruvain grew up Orthodox, but they find themselves into a bubble where they don't realize there's a world beyond them. I mean, this was a discussion I had with somebody, a young, very talented rabbi who does tremendous work, who he was lamenting how, Levi b'Mizrach, like the Rav Yehuda Levi says, and he wrote a poem about it, and the Kuzari, the whole thing, what am I doing here in Chutz La'aretz? I believe in Yerushalayim. And my answer was like this, the Rebbe Zusha says, I mentioned another video, Azei Panim Gehinnim, Voishis Panim L'Gan Eden, that people who are proud of who they are, they go to hell, and people who are ashamed go to heaven. And the Rebbe Zusha says, what does that mean? Because in the Rebuta B'Tema, and the next, the Mishnah, it's right next to it, says you should be brazen like a leopard. So is it good to be brazen? Is it bad to be brazen? So then he says, not talking about after the afterlife. He's talking about here and now, that a person who's proud of who he is should be proud like a leopard. He can go into the depths of hell and serve God from there and bring up and save the souls there. But a person who is shamefaced has to stay in heaven, has to stay in the Medrash, and can't leave. Whereas someone else could go anywhere and serve God, and not only serve God, but bring back God's children. And I lament about a dear friend of mine. I haven't really been in touch with him over the years, but when I was learning Yerushalayim, we were very, very close friends. and both from upstate New York. I was from Sullivan County, he's from Ulster County, and a Talmud Chacham. Before his chasna, he finished Shas. Brilliant person, but also he was doing tremendous work in the political fields. He was actually hired by a Catholic organization, a Yeshiva in German. I mean, he grew up more modern Orthodox and he became more yeshivish. But the yeshiva man, Talmud Chacham, was hired by a Catholic organization to lobby for certain political family values issues that we share, that Orthodox Jews share with Catholics and with most Christians and Muslims as well, and at least, serious Christians. And the thing is, now, many years later, the whole thing went down the toilet that he was fighting for. It's no longer. The fight was lost. The battle was lost, totally lost. And Kol Zman that he was here and working in Mamish, there was no, and since then, totally lost. And I can't even mention what the battle was, because people know, but I could be called a bigot just for mentioning that this is something that people who believe the Bible and the Quran are not, they believe is sinful, and they were lobbying to prevent something, and then many states started working on this, and this is really linked again to the Sabbateans, to the Frankincense, was something else I want to talk about. Not that these sins didn't exist in the old days, nothing changed, but now to say a bracha over it, basically, that's pure Frankism, that's pure Sabbateanism. Like how the Shatz, he said, Matir Isurim, and he made a bracha. It's one thing, people do Averis and they know they're sinners and they need to repent and they're struggling, and we're all sinners and we all struggle with our desires, and that's normal, that's part of being a human being. But to go and say, oh, this is good, this is godly, we should make a ceremony to celebrate this, that's a tremendous anathema. The Gemara talks about this, of how, basically, if the world does a sin, it's one thing, but they're not going to go and, make a ceremony, and that's how it is. It's really whatever. It's a Gemara Chulin. So this younger man, as a bacher, he was working against this tremendous breach in society, and he was very successful. And on a local level, in his own community, he was, in Ellenville, his local community, he was close with the local Rav, the modern Orthodox Rav, but Talmud Chacham, a very fine person, very ehrlich and wonderful, real rabbi. One of the, other than my own local Rav, in our area, he's one of the most rabbinical rabbis that I know, and a person we love very much in the community. He's just a wonderful person, and his position was stolen away by a very well-known and very successful organization that has some cultish aspects to it. But not only that, but sometimes they send these Ingalai to be Rabbanim who have no experience, and but they have money, and so they went and approached the shul there, and they said, we're gonna pay for one of our Ingalai to be your Rav, and they took away the job from a Rav who was there for 25 years who did tremendous things, and this cult came in just like they did in my community. They didn't come and take over the shul, but I was a rabbi in Rock Hill, and the same thing, the same cult. They came in, they sent in a guy who barely speaks English, who he's a nice chazan, but he doesn't know how, he gets up to speak, and he has no training and no rabbinical training. Probably doesn't know how to learn, because most of these guys, they sit for 4 hours a day in their yeshivas and read books that they don't understand, and they feel like they're big shots because they're learning Hasidus, and that's, when, you go to any normal Hasidish yeshiva, they're not learning Hasidus, except this one place, and they think they're better than everybody, they put down everybody else, and it's really, that's what, that's the cultish aspects of this group. They think they call their Rebbe the Nasi Hadair. He's for the whole world. He's not just the Nasi of their community. He's the Nasi Hadair. He's a Verhecher Darga for Jedem Eine. This type of nonsense that's really cultish, which, you don't find this in the Hungarian world. You don't find this in Satmar and Nitra and Spinka. Even, places like Spinka and Tush where they learn a lot of Kabbalah and real Chassidish Sfarim and real, but it's with your Shemayim and it's with Ehrlichkeit. It's not this, and everybody, looks up to these tzaddikim because, but not this Narishkeit. And they go out and they take away jobs from other Galai, whatever it is. So, and they brainwash people. And then they have people who are driving to shul on Shabbos and putting on Rebbeinu Tam Tefillin. Like their priorities are so messed up. As long as you learn Tanya and you put on Rebbeinu Tam Tefillin, continuous bevilt. You could go. I don't understand. Where, whatever. And I don't know. It's very weird. I don't know. But anyway, so this younger man in Yerushalayim now, he was fighting against this cult very strongly, and he, and when I said, what can we do to help the Rav there in Ellenville after what they did, he said, oh, whatever, this is what the board voted on. He's in Yerushalayim. He lost all connection to the world. Everything outside of his little bubble in the Mir Yeshiva is falling apart, when this is a man who has so much potential and so much koiches, and he's sitting and learning. Every Yid has to sit and learn, has to devote time, but he needs to be he needs to be an askin, he needs to be a Rav or a Yeshiva. Instead, he's sitting and learning. He needs to be out there in the world. He needs to be writing, and he needs to be making YouTube videos and doing all these things. He used to write. He used to write every week for Torah and put it online. He doesn't do that anymore, and it's someone is so talented. And so I said to this younger man who isn't doing that, and I said, it's not about politics, because this one Yerushalayim, he's an anti-Zionist, and I know you're a Zionist, but I'm saying to you, I'm not putting down your politics. I'm saying to you is, you're accomplishing much more in New Jersey than you would be in Yerushalayim, because you're out in the world, you're doing important work, and people, and the same thing here even in America. Some people, they spend their whole life in Williamsburg or in Lakewood or wherever, and most of the people there, they're wonderful people, they're God's people, they're holy people, they're sitting and learning, and they're doing what they're supposed to do. And that's their tachlis in the world. And they're being misakin by lamas, and they're doing tremendous holy things. But there are certain people who are more talented who need to do more. Of course, there are people. I'm not saying there aren't people in Yerushalayim or in Williamsburg and Borough Park and Lakewood who aren't doing more. I mean, I remember of Daniel Frisch, Zachusiak in Eleno, Tzadik Sodoilo. I used to eat in his house, and he did what he's supposed to do. He went, he wrote Svarim, and someone said, oh, but maybe it's more holy to be humble and not to write books. I'm like, no, I remember a friend of mine said, and someone said that, a friend of mine said, with Daniel, he's doing what he's supposed to do, he's writing Svarim, and he's like, what does he have to do that for? Maybe it's holier to be anonymous. And no, I don't think so. I mean, again, if you don't have what to give, you're right. If you have nothing to give over, and you're sitting and learning, even a lot of people, they go out to be Rabbanim, they don't have what to give, but they're doing something. And a lot of those people, with all due respect, they would be better off if they weren't, have some of these younger light. They go out, they become Rabbanim, they don't even know how to learn a Rashi. They don't, not even literature people. You'd think they're sitting and learning in real good yeshivas, where it's real serious learning. And the one German, he was the Rav in a shul, in a young Israel shul, and I was there, Shal Shudis or something, it was a Suda, whatever. They were sitting, they had some kind of Shabbaton, or I don't know, they were singing, and there was one fellow there, who was being Mikarev, and the boys from the Shabbaton, boys and girls, whatever, they were singing, I don't know, and they were singing, Hine Ma'tovim Anoim Sheves Achim Gam Yachad, but he was more of a Ben Yeshiva, so he pronounced the Saf, but these other guys, I don't know, from YU or whatever, so they said Shevet Achim instead of Sheves Achim, and so, of course, that's how they talk. I'm not making fun of that, but the Amaratzis of this Rav was that, this fellow who's being Makarev, an older fellow, who I was very close with this man, I mean, I was a teenager, and this older man, he asked the Rav, he said, what does this mean that they're singing? He said, well, Hine Ba'tovim Anoim, how good it is, behold, how good it is, and how pleasant. Shevet Achim Gam Yachad, Shevet means like a stick, a staff. So they're like all together, one staff, one tribe, one stick. I don't even think he said the word tribe. He doesn't know the difference between a tough and a test, that he thinks that the pasuk says Shevet, and this is a Rav of a shul. He doesn't know a pasuk in Tillim, how to teach a pasuk in Tillim. I don't understand. And these are the people, they're going and being Rabbanim. I don't know. I don't mean to be disrespectful. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say, but but again, the reason I'm saying all this, certain people, they're in a bubble. They don't realize there's a world outside of them. They don't know how to interact. They never got taught how to interact with the rest of the world. And, I mean, even I read this article. There was a fellow, a Bocher, who went to a secular college, and he said, modern Orthodox, and he had two choices. He could have gone to YU, or he could have gone to secular college, and he said he's so happy he went to the secular college, because even for his Avodas Hashem, the secular college was better for him. Now, most of the people in YU belong in YU. I mean that with respect, but certain people need to go to a secular college. Everybody has their own derech. But the thing is doing this, if Rabbi Yaron, Ruvain, if you want to talk like this, give your speech in Ivrit, or give your speech in, I don't know if he knows Yiddish. He probably knows Ivrit, I'm assuming. Don't go and speak in English and be disrespectful to other religions, and that you can't do that. That's not how the world works. I'm sorry, That's not the way. That's disrespectful. Even among ourselves, we shouldn't talk like that. But the thing is, it's got, the people, they live in a bubble, and they become bigoted, and they become closed-minded, and they become childish. I mean, even, Tanoim and Amoraim admitted sometimes they were childish, but, I mean, I'm probably being childish right now, but, I don't know, so, one answer is, why does he say things, when he says J.C. Penney or whatever, but the other thing is, the fact is that certain people do worship him, and so it is a question of mentioning of Avodah Zarah, and it is also in halacha, and then also, even without the Avodah Zarah aspect, is a question to put these two names together is an issue, but to say just one of the names, certainly the given name and not the title that was attributed, is no problem. to mention the title that was attributed, not referring to that person, is also not a problem. Essentially, according to most poskim, but other poskim disagree. So I'm just saying, frankly and honestly. Then Khalifa Clothing also sent me a video of a pastor, messianic, and he asked, "Do you call this person a Christian? Because look how Jewish he is." And it's not. So I didn't watch the whole video. I watched part of it, and first I was just like, not very impressed. I was like, this guy, he's just using Jewish words totally unnecessarily. I mean, if he's to be intellectually honest, he knows that these books are not written in Hebrew. He starts throwing out these Hebrew words, when he knows it was written in Greek, So that's just silly. But then at one point he says, wait, what does the Torah say? And what does the Torah say? Because if you want to establish some ideology or theology separate from what the Torah says, that's heresy. And he's 100% right. And so this person, of course, accepting these books that are outside of our canon is problematic and wrong. But he probably doesn't completely fall into the halachic category of an epicurus. He's just a fool. I mean, we were talking about this cult that I mentioned before, and there's a famous tshuva where they discuss that many of the members of that community believe that their Rebbe is Mashiach. And there's a tshuva from Rosh Yeshiva in Baltimore, who I remember in Yerushalayim, Rav Feldman, Shlita, big, tremendous, he has big shoulders. Even though others disagreed, Menashe Klein, Zecher Tzaddik Levracha, disagreed very strongly. So the Elu ve'Elu, they're both right. But this one from Baltimore, he said, if these group believe that their Rebbe is Mashiach, he said they are fools, and he brought reasons for that, but they're not heretics. But if they believe that he is God, then they're heretics. So meaning if they just believe he's Mashiach, you can count their minion, their shechita is kosher, their wine is kosher, and so forth. But if they believe that he's God and they worship him, then they're idolaters and they're not to be accepted. So this question came up in our neighborhood to Rabbi Yitzchak Lebovich in Woodridge, a big dayan, Talmud Satmarov, and of many other great Rabbanim, and a tremendous Talmud Chacham, tremendous, Kulei, a man who's Kulei Torah, and Rabbi Yitzchak, the question came to him, and he said, the same thing applies for any false messiah. It's a mistake, it's wrong, but it's not necessarily epicorsis. And so the same thing, I don't know enough about this particular church that this video was, that I could say for sure, but probably they would fall into that category of fools, of mistaken, but still, theoretically, they could be kosher Jews. But they're sorely mistaken about the mistake that they made according to halacha. So that's it. Well, thank you for watching. And like my friend Rabbi Meza says, we could try to have fellowship with these people and perhaps also bring them back and be makar of them and convince them that they're wrong. Sometimes I was always discouraged from doing that, and I remember there was one younger man that my friend Rabbi Meza said I should be makar of online, And I was like, I'm not going to convince this guy. And he said, well, try. And very easily convinced him that what he thought about these wrong ideas was wrong. And I told him, like what Pinchas Koritzer says, we have to pray, Rebbeinu Shalom Necheni B'derech Emes, Master of the world, guide me in the path of truth. And hopefully, now it's raining in Sphere. Pinchas Koritzer said it's a big bracha and brings a lot of good things. So I'm going to go walk in the rain and go to work. And we'll see you all later. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Comment. I love, this video was made directly in reference to a comment, and if I see comments that I want to share the same thing, I would love to do that. Thank you for watching. God bless.